wouldn't be anything. Like it is always Pesach today. And then we'll get back to next week, back to Leviticus. So we're in Exodus, Song of the Sea today. Which one? Hold on. Shmini, maybe? Oh yeah? Do you want to read it? Okay. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. Welcome to our 7th day Pesach morning service as we round off this week of Pesach. We begin as always with Ma Tovu. We're on page 437 as we transform our sitting rooms, kitchens, wherever you are tuning in from to enable us to be a congregation together.
Cannot guys don't mess about by the looks of it.
To Psalm 57, and just an extra warm welcome to Bristol community, liberal community. So delighted that you're with us, that we can offer support while Rabbi Monique Mayer continues to get better. Delighted to have you all, and I see my teacher, my university lecturer, Rabbi Francis Berry, here in the congregation, and lovely for him to be here. We are on the foot of page 437. Nachon libi Elohim, nachon libi, ashira va'azamerha, ora kavodi, ora hanevel v'chinor, a'ira shecha, odacha va'amim Adonai, azamercha balumim, ki gadol ad shamayim chasdecha, va'ad shechakim amitecha. We turn to page 441 to read moments, just words from the book of Ruth, to remind us of harvest, and words that have been taken from the Sephardi prayers of blessing for dew. Let standing corn grow ripe, as dewdrops bring their blessing, food for the hungry, healing for the sick.
Let the bare vines be draped with grape blossoms, as the heavens yield their dew.
Let oases drip with plenty, and hills be wrapped in gladness, dressed with flowers in the colours of spring.
Singing your great goodness as the heavens yield their dew.
Let the trees God made be fed on valley and hill, the granaries be filled with grain, the vats with wine and oil.
Let every village be joyous and safe as the heavens yield their dew.
Let those who spend themselves in the study of our faith shine bright as stars. You feed the hungry soul, the dry and empty heart.
And fill it with delight as the heavens yield their dew.
Send your sweet breeze to renew our life, restore to its ancient glory the land of our heritage.
You who are good to all, let the time of redemption come and renew our life.
Our God and God of our ancestors, as dew descends.
Let light illumine the earth, let blessing restore the earth. Let joy and gladness abound on the earth. Let song resound on the earth. Let life revive the earth and with goodness and sustenance deliver us on earth.
We turn to Mizmor Shir LeYom HaShabbat, page 454. It's good to give thanks to the Eternal One. Tzadik katama yifrach ke'eretz balva non yiskei. Shetulim bevet Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. Od yonuvun b'seva. Deshenin v'rananim yihiyu. Lahagid ki yasha Adonai tzuri. V'lo avlata bo. Let's turn to the Baruch Hu, our public call to prayer. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol, hame'ir la'aretz v'ledarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit, ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'hochma asita, melah ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, v'al morei or she'asita. Yefaruch Hatzela, Baruch Atah Adonai, Yotzer Hamorot. Ahava Rabbah Haftanu Adonai Eloheinu. Great is your love for us, eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Open our eyes to your teaching, make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. For in love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher bi'amo Yisrael, bi'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto,
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אמת ויציב וישר וקיים וטוב ויפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. אלוהי עולם מלכנו צור יעקב מגן אישנו, ממצרים גלתנו אדוני אלוהינו, ומבית עבדים פדיתנו. משה ומרים ובני ישראל לך ענו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם. שירה חדשה שיבחו גואלים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו.
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, מועלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל, גל ישראל.
We go now into our festival tefillah, standing prayer.
Adonai sefetai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sefetai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula Levnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava. Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל
מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע
ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. We revere and sanctify you, even as in the prophet's vision, the seraphim sanctified you in the temple. As it's written, they called to one another and proclaimed.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech ol haaretz kevodo.
Adonai Adonenu ma'adir shimcha b'chol ha'aretz.
Baruch kevod Adonai, mimkomo, mimkomo.
Mimkomo hu yifen barachamim v'yachon am hamyechadim shemo erev avoke b'chol yom tamid pa'amayim ba'ahava shema omrim.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad hu Eloheinu hu avinu hu malkeinu hu moshienu v'hu yashmienu barachamav shenit le'enei kol chai.
Ani Adonai
Uvdivrei kodshacha katuv lemor.
Imloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Tzion, v'dov Adon, Alleluia. V'dov Adon, v'dov Adon, v'dov Adon, nagid od lecha, Ulenetzach netzakim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nakdish. V'dov Adon, v'dov Adon, v'dov Adon, nagid godlecha. Ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nakdish. V'shivcha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed. Ki el melech gadol, hakadosh baruch hu. L'tov Adon, l'tov Adon, l'tov Adon, nagid godlecha. Ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nakdish.
So as we talk of generation to generation, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You've given us a special task among the peoples. In your love and favor, you've sanctified us by your commandments, drawn us near to your service, and charged us to make known your great and holy name. In your love, Eternal One, our God, you've given us Sabbaths of rest, feasts of joy, and seasons of gladness, among them this festival of unleavened bread, season of our freedom, Chag HaMatzot Hazeh Zman Cherutenu, to unite us in worship and in remembrance of the exodus from Egypt. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, ya'aleh v'yavo v'yizacher zichronenu, v'zichron kol amcha bet Yisrael lefanecha, l'tova v'lifracha, l'chaim u'l'shalom, b'yom Chag HaMatzot Hazeh. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova,
Amen.
ufokdenu vo levracha,
Amen.
v'hoshienu vo l'chaim. And join me at home, grant, Eternal One, that our observance of the festivals may bring us blessing, happiness, and joy. Sanctify us by your commandments, make us loyal to your teaching, satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, purify our hearts to serve you in truth, and grant, Eternal God, that the joy of the Sabbath, the happiness of the festivals, may be with us always. We praise you, O God, you hallow Shabbat, Israel, and the festivals. So we couldn't resist adding Yismachu in this morning, which is not in our festival Amidah, but we're adding it. So if you'd like to follow the words, you can find it in your Siddur Lev Chadash on page 143, or sit back and enjoy.
Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Makadoshei Shvi Shabbat, Kulam Yismachu v'yitangu mituvecha Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kidashta Shabbat. Chemdad yamim, oto karata Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh b'reshit Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh b'reshit Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat.
Ratzei Adonai Eloheinu b'yamcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam b'ahavat tekabel, u'tehila ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch ata Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. We're on the middle of page 465 as we offer Modim Anachnu Lach, our blessing of gratitude. Modim Anachnu Lach she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu le'olam va'ed. Tzur hayenu magen yishenu ata hu lado vado. Nodeh lecha unsapeh tehilatecha al hayenu hamsurim biyadecha v'al nishmotenu hapukudot lach. V'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu, v'al niflotecha v'tovotecha shebachol eit erev v'vokev v'tzoharayim. Baruch ata Adonai, hatov shimcha ulacha na'eh lohodot. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, baruchenu bivracha hamshuleshet hakutuva batorah, yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yihuneka. V'yasem lecha shalom.
Amen. Kein yehi ratzon. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Tova v'racha.
We praise you, God, the source of peace. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer or reflection. So we go now to our festival Hallel. We are on page 468 as we offer the blessing for Hallel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'Hallel. Hallel, the Psalms from 113 to 118, recited on every holiday as we turn to Psalm 114 that marks and captures Pesach.
בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מים לועז. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מים לועז. הייתה יהודה לכושו, ישראל ממשלותיו. הים רב הינוס, הירדן ייסוב לאחור. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מים לועז. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מים לועז.
Harim,
רקדו חילים,
Rakadu Halim,
גבעות,
Gavot,
כבני צאן,
Kivnei Tzon,
מלך הים,
Malach HaYam,
קיטנו,
Gitanus,
הירדן,
Hayarden,
ייסוב לאחור.
Tisof Leachor,
ההרים,
Harim,
תרקדו חילים,
Tirkadu Halim,
גבעות,
Gavot,
כבני צאן,
Kivnei Tzon,
מלפני אדון,
Milefnei Adon,
כולי ארץ,
Uli Aretz,
מלפני
Milefnei
אלוהי יעקב,
Elohai Yaakov,
ההופכי חצור,
Ahofi Hatzor,
הגמיים,
Agamayim,
חלמיש,
Alamish,
למנו יין.
Lamaino Mahayim. Psalm 117, middle of page 474.
הללו את אדוני כל גויים, שבחו כל האומים, כי דבר עלינו חסדו, ואמת אדוני לעולם, הללויה. הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. יום ישראל, כי לעולם חסדו. יאמרו בית אהרון, כי לעולם חסדו. יאמרו יראי אדוני, כי לעולם חסדו. הודו לאדוני כי טוב, We continue at the top of page 475. In my distress, I cried out to God, who answered me and set me free. God is with me. I'm not afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? With God as my helper, I can face any foe. It is better to take refuge in God than to rely on human beings. It is better to take refuge in God than to rely on those in power. God is my strength and my shield, and has become my salvation. Hear glad songs of triumph in the tents of the righteous. The Eternal One does mighty deeds. God's power is supreme. The Eternal One does mighty deeds. I shall not die, but live to tell of God's deeds. Open for me the gates of righteousness. Let me enter them and give thanks to God. This is the gate of the Eternal One. The righteous shall enter it.
Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, berachnuchem mibet Adonai, Eli ata v'odecha, Elohai aroma mecha. We turn now to Kriyat HaTorah for the festivals, page 497. In days to come, the mountain of God's house shall be established as the highest mountain, towering above the hills, and all the nations shall stream to it. Many peoples will go and say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Eternal One, to the house of the God of Jacob, so that we may learn God's ways and walk in God's paths."
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai mirushalayim.
House of Israel, let us walk by the light of the Eternal One. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu l'Adonai iti u'noromama shemo yachdav.
Adonai Hagedula, Hagdura v'hatiferet, v'hanitzach v'hahor, kol ma'ashamayim u'va'aretz, leka Adonai hamamlacha, v'hamitnaseh.
So, seventh day Pesach, we have the opportunity to hear Shirat Hayam again, the Song of the Sea. This moment at the end of Exodus that we are told with such great detail that they stood, the Hebrews, the children of Israel, stood on the shore of the sea, waiting for the sea to part. The wonderful midrash about Nachshon ben Aminadav, the one Israelite that had the courage to wade into the sea with the faith the sea would part. And this midrash goes that perhaps it only parted as the water entered his mouth, hence the words Mi chamocha be'elim Adonai. So we hear the song. This, of course, is the song of Moses, and then we hear Miriam's song after. But we're going to, right now, for all purposes, imagine this people at the edge of the sea offering this song of gratitude. As always, I think it's a missed opportunity to not extrapolate words of Torah into our lives and to imagine as we hear these words the moments of triumph in our own, the moments of managing over adversity, to make these words the triumph of Micha Mocha, of Shirat Hayam, be meaningful in our lives. There is a wonderful midrash, as well as Nachshon ben Aminadav, that God sees the angels singing with great jubilation, singing the words of Micha Mocha, who is like you, Eternal One, amongst all gods. And God chastises the angels, saying, you're celebrating whilst my people are dying in the sea. And what's significant, I think, is that the people are never chastised. Moses, Miriam, and all the Israelites are not chastised for offering their song of salvation, redemption, and triumph, because to be human is to be able to celebrate overcoming adversity. So I am so delighted. When do I ever have this opportunity? Pauline and I work together through the week, and I get today to call Pauline up for a virtual Aliyah LaTorah. Ta'amod, Pesach bat Yisrael v'Rivka, levarech et haTorah.
Thank you, Rebecca. Baruch hu et Adonai, ha'mavorach.
Baruch Adonai,
Baruch
ha'mavorach,
Adonai,
le'olam
le'olam
va'ed.
va'ed. Baruch Adonai, ha'mavorach, le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. So Jyothi's going to share on the screen Song of the Sea, and then after, I think the translation offered by Robert Alter, beautiful translation of this poetry, which I think will be far better for us to hear Robert Alter translating poetry than me translating it. So we are in, I think we're in chapter 15 of the book of Exodus. We're in the part, Simchat Torah, when we've unrolled the scroll. It's extraordinary to see the I'm not going to be able to say onomatopoeia on camera right now, but to see the words broken up like waves in the sea, so that it's very easy to spot as we unroll the scroll. As Yashir Moshe v'nei Yisrael et hashira hazot ladonai v'yomru lemor. Asher ladonai ki ga'oga'a sus v'roch v'rama v'yam עוזי וזמרתיה ויהי לי לשוע. זה אלי וענווהו אלוהי אבי ארום אמן אדוני איש מלחמה אדוני שמו. מרחבות פרעה וחילו ירב הים ומבחה שלו שב טיבו בים סוף. תהמות יחסימו יערדו ומסולות כמו אבן. ימינך אדוני נדרי וכוח. ימינך אדוני תירץ אויב. וברוב גאונך תארוס קמך. תשלח הרונך יאכלמו כקש. וברוח אפיך נערמו מים. ניצבו כמו נט נוזלים כאפו תהמות בלב ים. אמה אויב ארדוף אשיג. אחלק שילל תמלא מו נפשי. אעריק חרבי תורישי מו ידי. נשבת ברוחך כשמו ים. צללו כעופרת במים אדרים. מי כמוך באלים, מי כמוך באלים אדוני. מי כמוך נדע נדע בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא. נתית ימינך תבלמו ארץ. נחית בחסדך אם זו גאלת. נחלת בעוזך אל נווה קודשך. שמעו ערמים ירגזון. חילך אז יושבי פלשת. אז נחלו אלופי אדום. אלי מואב יוחזמו רעד. נמוגו כל יושבי כנען. תפול עליהם אימתה ופחד. בגדול זרוחך ידמו כאבן. עד יבוא עמך אדוני. עד יבוא אם זו קנית. תבאמו ותתאמו באכל נחלתך. מכון לשנחתך פעלת אדוני. מקדוש אדוני כבונו ידך. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Pauline, over to you.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Oops, sorry. Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nota b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Yeshua Koach, Pauline, and a huge Mishaberach to you over this festival of Pesach, all the gratitude from our synagogue to you for all you do to hold us upright and keep us going.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm looking at my computer rather than at the camera as I look at Pauline's face. So, as I said, Robert Alter will translate poetry much better than me, but just the sheer beauty of I will sing a song to God because God triumphed and the chariots and the horses fell into the sea. God is my help and will be my salvation. So I'm going to now offer a short Hagbah while the text is still somewhat in the middle of the Sefer Torah.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato.
So I don't often get this opportunity to mark my parents' upcoming wedding anniversary next week, to invite them to read Haftarah. It's only once a year that we really, in a liturgical setting, get to hear from Song of Songs, that extraordinary book that snuck its way into the canon by saying it's a euphemism for God's love for Israel and vice versa. But it is the most extraordinary text of loving of nature and of romance. Over to you, Mum and Dad. Are you unmuted? Let me see if I can unmute. So, Kate and David Berg, otherwise known as Mum and Dad to me.
We praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe. You inspired faithful prophets and took pleasure in the words they spoke in truth. We praise you, O God, for the gift of Torah, your servant Moses, your people Israel, and the prophets of truth and righteousness.
The voice of my beloved. There he comes, leaping over the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice. My beloved spoke and said to me, "Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. See, the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. Flowers appear on the earth. The season of singing has come. The cooing of doves is heard in our land. The fig tree forms its early fruit. The blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me."
My dove, in the clefts of the rock, in the hiding places on the mountainside, show me your face. Let me hear your voice. For your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom.
My beloved is mine, and I am his. He browses among the lilies. Until the day breaks and the shadows flee, turn, my beloved, and be like a gazelle, or like a young stag on the rugged hills, or like...
Where has your beloved gone, most beautiful of women? Which way did your beloved turn, that we may look for him with you? My beloved has gone down to his garden, to the beds of spices, to browse in the gardens, and to gather lilies. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He browses among lilies. Place me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as death. It's jealously unyielding as the grave. It burns like blazing fire, like a mighty flame. Many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot sweep it away. If one were to give all the wealth of one's house for love, it would be utterly scorned.
For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, for this Sabbath day, and this festival of unleavened bread, which you, Eternal One, have given us for holiness and rest, for joy and gladness, for honor and beauty. For all these we offer thanks. May all the living praise your name, now and forever. We praise you, O God. You hallow the Sabbath, Israel, and the festivals.
Beautifully read. So I pass over now to Sheila Brill from Bristol and West Progressive Jewish Community to share the community prayers.
Eternal God, we ask your blessing on our Queen Elizabeth and all the royal family, as well as those who govern our country. Guide them and all who govern our country with a spirit of wisdom and compassion, so that they care for the citizen and the stranger and bring benefit to all the inhabitants of our country and the world. Bless all our brothers and sisters of the House of Israel. Bless our congregation and all its members. Be with those who seek your presence and all who are in need of healing, spiritual or physical. Let them know that you are near to comfort and sustain them. May peace exist in the state of Israel soon and in our time. May you, eternal God, grant blessing to her, established as an age-old dream and home to the oppressed. May its leaders and citizens be inspired with a faithfulness to the aims of its founders, and may the country be imbued with the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice always. May this Shabbat renew our energy to build and sustain a better world and to deepen our gratitude so much around us. And let us pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Sheila, and thank you, Bristol and West Progressive Jewish Community, for joining us this morning for Shabbat and the last day of Pesach. We're on page 501. Yehallelu et Shem Adonai ki nizgav shemo levado.
Odo haaretz v'shamayim v'yaren keren le'amo tehila l'chol chasidav livnei Yisrael am karamo. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Happy are those who find wisdom, who gain understanding, for its fruits are better than silver, its yield than fine gold. It's more precious than rubies, and no treasure can compare it. Ki lecha tov natati lachem, torati al ta'azovu.
It's Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomecheha merusha duracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom. Ashirenu Adonai
Friends, we turn now to a memorial service which we offer on the last day of Pesach. We're on page 502. Actually, I'm going to take us straight to 513. 513. This Yizkor service, this festival Yizkor service, offers us an opportunity to recall and remember and honor names that perhaps don't have a usual place in the year of remembering. Perhaps those who are remembering names that they haven't yet honored, perhaps at strange times of discovering deaths of loved ones, perhaps ways to honor people that otherwise don't have an easy yahrzeit to fit into our lives. This is an opportunity for us to recall and to remember not just those that we love and miss, but perhaps this past year and the harshness and hardship that it has brought on us and the brutality of loss there has been. This is an opportunity for us on this last day of the festival to recall. We're on page 513 as we begin with Psalm 90. Eternal One, you have been our refuge in all generations. Before the mountains were born, or earth and universe brought forth, from eternity to eternity you are God. 1,000 years in your sight are but as yesterday when it is past, or as a watch in the night. Our years come to an end like a sigh. They are soon gone and we fly away. So teach us to number our days, that we may acquire a heart of wisdom. Satisfy us with your kindness in the morning of our lives, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Let your servants behold your works, and their children come to see your glory. Let your favor, eternal God, rest upon us, and may our work have lasting value. May the work of our hands endure. So instead of Psalm 16, we are going to offer Psalm 23, that traditional psalm that we offer around death and recalling and remembering. Yisgo Elohim nishmot shel chul olamam, ana tiyem nafsham tzora bitzro hachayim, utihi menuchatam kavod. May God remember the souls who have entered the life of eternity. May they be at one with God, who is eternal life. May we always honor their memory through acts of loving kindness and generosity. Let their memories inspire us so to live that through us their highest ideals and noblest hopes may be brought nearer to fulfillment. I list the names for our congregation and those in Bristol. Sheila Staker, mother of Dean Staker, on her second yahrzeit. Mark Mendoza, husband of Sylvia Mendoza and father of Jane Mellons. Adrian Harris, husband of Maureen Harris and brother of Ruth Hoffman. Charles Joseph, father of Howard Joseph. Harry Karstadt, father of Philip Karstadt. Laura Sobrauer, sister of Rabbi Frank Hellner. Falush Frankel, Miklos, and Deutsch Istvan, uncles of Agnes Kaposhi. Alfred Vassallo and June Mills, birth father and birth mother of Robin Heller. Franz and Delphi Seckel, maternal grandparents of Pat Hinson. Peter Bernstone, father of Kathy Bernstone. Claire and Joe Meltzer, parents of Louise Meltzer. Hannah Rapport and Brian Skinner, friends of Louise Meltzer. Stephen Gilbert, friend of Paul Richman and Adrian Lister. Golda Morris Voke, parents of Stanley Voke. Ellis Burke, Alma Burke, Joseph Green, my grandparents. Zichronam Livracha. And now to those names being remembered by your community in Bristol. Colin Campbell, Benjamin Ben Pesach, father of Jonathan Campbell. Peter Hyams, husband of Mavis, founder member of the community, and also his mother, May Hyams. Lionel Sutton, Avraham Leib Ben Chayin, brother of Marlene Sutton, and Hubert Ubelaka, member of the community. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. May those who recall and remember and honor their loved ones at whatever stage of remembering grief and bereavement you are in, may you be comforted in your loss. We add the extra prayer on page 515. Merciful Father and Mother of all life, let the memory never fade of the faithful and upright of our people who have given their lives for the sanctification of your name. Loyal and honorable in their lives, in death they continue to speak to us of faith and courage. Many of them are not known by name. They have no grave, but their deeds endure, and their sacrifices are not forgotten. Their souls are bound up in the bond of eternal life. No evil shall touch them. They are at peace. In gratitude for all the blessings they brought to us, to Israel, and to humanity, we dedicate ourselves anew to this sacred faith for which they lived and died, and to the task they bequeathed us. Let them be remembered for blessing, O God, together with all the righteous of all peoples. And let us say, Amen. And before we go to Kaddish, we offer Esa Enai, Psalm 121, on page 516, the most uplifting of all our psalms.
Shamayim
The Eternal One shields you from evil and shelters your soul. The ever-present God will guard your coming in and your going out, now and always. Page 523 as we go into the Kaddish, and are aware that the opportunity to name our loved ones, to remember them, sometimes for the first time, as Agnes shared with us today and allowed us to name her family, having only just discovered one of their deaths. It is hard to feel serene when our world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our lives have gone. Yet in the emptiness their passing leaves behind, we are not alone, for we have the companionship of the living, and even our loved ones who've died live on in our hearts, for what they were is part of what we have become. We honor them best when we live as they would wish, responsibly and happily, even in the shadow of our loss, and so draw closer to the source of life, in whom every life finds meaning, purpose, and hope. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shamei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'hayachon v'yomechon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, magala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mavorach le'olam al maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'tromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithada v'taleh v'talal Shemei d'Kodusha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh Shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol b'nei Adam. V'imru Amen. I'm going to pass to you, Tamara, now before we close our service.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome to FPS. I think we're getting an thank you. And a particular welcome to our visitors today. Welcome to Bristol and West Synagogue. Welcome to Annabelle from Vienna. I think today's Yizkor service makes us feel so acutely the desire to be physically together, and it's wonderful to be reminded of the privilege that comes with meeting on Zoom, of being able to meet up with people who are so far away. So welcome to you all, and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you to everyone who led and participated in the service. Thank you, Rebecca. It's wonderful to hear you sing the Song of the Sea, and we're all still really enjoying Chagba as almost a new experience again after such a long gap. Thank you so much to our musicians, Dean and Franklin, We really delight in and appreciate the creativity and variety that you bring as you enhance and beautify our services with music. And 2 keyboards, Franklin. Fantastic. So thank you so much. Thank you to our Zoom hosts, Valerie and Josie, and our tech team, Michael and David, without whom these services would not be possible. And thank you to everyone who read and participated in the service. Pauline, what would we do without you? You're here both as so much a member of the community and also as a guest. I'm delighted to have you in both capacities. Thank you, Kate and David. How wonderful and appropriate to have you reading love poetry to us so beautifully today. What a model of love for us all to aspire to. Happy anniversary from all of us to you. And thank you so much, Sheila, for reading our community prayers. Once again, a real privilege and pleasure to have Bristol and West celebrating Shabbat with us this morning. On to community announcements, and Bristol and West, forgive me, bear with us as I talk a little bit about things that will be going on at FPS. Of course, you're welcome to visit us through the magic of the internet. At 6:30 p.m, in fact, this is an LJ-wide event. There is LJ Havdalah, ending Pesach. It will be celebrated by Rebecca with Renee Fertzel and Charlie Baginski. Tomorrow morning, Cafe Ivrea at 10 o'clock is hosting Mimuna Brunch. It's a traditional North African Jewish celebration. So please join Rabbi Rebecca for food and conversation, and check the email for if you would like to make your own mufleta pancake batter and cook along with us tomorrow morning. And at 5 p.m, we're invited to attend the Cantors concert of the Minsk Cantorial Festival, another thing we couldn't possibly do if it weren't for the joys of the internet. And for the first time, there's going to be an interfaith musical dialogue with Catholic and Orthodox Christian versions of the Psalms alongside the cantorial performances. So that's at 5 tomorrow. This week, all of our usual weekly activities will be happening as usual. I'd just like to remind you that Shofar, our magazine, has just come out. So if you've not had a chance to look at it yet, please do look at it and read it. It's it's such a precious aspect of synagogue life that our community is so intergenerational, and it's full of wonderfully informative and beautiful and moving stories about intergenerational relationships, and I really commend it to you. If you've not yet seen it, I think you'll find it really enjoyable, so please do. And a reminder that Wednesday is the deadline to submit nominations for election to the Board of Deputies. So if you'd like to represent FPS to the Board of Deputies, please email your 300-word candidate statement to the office by Wednesday. So Wednesday is Yom HaShoah, and we are having a special event that is bringing together 5 liberal Jewish communities. We'll be marking the day alongside 3 counties, Stevenage, BKY and Norwich. So at 7 p.m, Gloria Silva from Generation to Generation is going to be sharing her father's extraordinary story of survival, including skiing across the mountains to safety, which will be followed by Rabbi Rebecca leading us in prayers and candle lighting. And for those of you who don't know, Generation to Generation is a charity established by our own Leslie Urbach, which supports 2nd and 3rd generation survivors to continue to bear witness by telling the stories of their parents and grandparents. So please do join us for this really very special occasion at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Looking further ahead, I remind our members of the London Citizens Assembly on Wednesday the 28th at 6 p.m. Again, you can sign up via the community email after a deferral of a year for our moment of democracy in London. We will be having a chance to hold the mayoral candidates to account for our own manifesto around issues of housing, homelessness, youth safety, living wage, and just transition for climate, which of course our own Adrian Lister has taken a really leading role in developing. So please do come along, help us have a strong delegation to the Citizens Assembly on the 28th. And almost immediately following that, the LJ Biennial Weekend is April 30th to the 2nd of May. The theme is Breaking Down Walls, Inclusion and Action. So for stimulating conversation, fun activities, and a focus on how we really create and strengthen truly diverse and inclusive Jewish community in our congregations, please do come along to the LJ Biennial. Thank you, everybody. It only remains for me to say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks so much, Tamara. So we are finishing our service with Adon Olam, page 525, which we are following as we've done throughout Pesach. The tune by, this is just embarrassing, Flori
Jagoda.
Flori Jagoda in the Fragish scale that we know Paul particularly appreciated last week. So do join us and our musicians in this particularly rousing Adon Olam. You, Dean and Franklin. And Peter, I noticed that you had your hand up, and I wonder whether as host of Bristol this morning there was something you wanted to say to your community or indeed us. I just wanted to, Paula reminded me that your hand had been up. If you need to unmute yourself, but now I can't find you. Maybe not. Maybe all good. Or if anyone else from Bristol needs to say something, please do. Just as we prepare to finish our service.
He is there, Rebecca. Peter is there.
Peter, was there something you wanted to say, or?
He has a cell problem.
Can you turn this on?
He has a cell problem.
Oh, we can't hear you, Peter. Okay. We'll see. Okay. All right. Thanks, Peter. We really enjoyed having you with us this morning. Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom, and a final blessing for all of us as we go off into our world, start to eat chametz again tonight. Baruch atah b'voecha uvaruch atah b'tzeitecha. Blessed may you be when you come in to your homes, to everything that is familiar, and blessed may you be when you go out and challenge yourselves outside your homes. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, Moedim L'Simcha. So we invite you to get your wine, however you're making kiddush this morning, and we have matzah and the remains of the almond macaroons and chocolate cake that I made this week that I've remembered to bring in this morning. So over to you, Dean.
I'll try not to sing it Freygish this time.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't mind a bit more Freygish.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam, beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz, uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash.
And we're just going to add for the festival morning, Ele Moadei Adonai Mikrei Kodesh, Asher Tikra'u Otam B'mo Adam. Vayadaber Moshe et Moadei Adonai El Bnei Yisrael.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei puri hagafen. Amen.
Amen. L'chaim. And the very last blessing over matzah, probably no one will be sad except Renzo to say goodbye to matzah. So here we have Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.